Somewhere along the journey of your life, you learned to fear money, not openly, not in a way you would ever admit out loud, but quietly, secretly, deep inside. There's a part of you that flinches when the topic comes up. You work hard, you try to be smart, you follow all the advice, and yet, somehow, money never seems to feel safe in your hands. It slips away, disappears, or arrives only in just enough amounts to survive, never enough to breathe freely. And in those quiet moments, when no one is watching, you've asked yourself, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just figure this out? What if I told you, nothing is wrong with you? What if the reason you can't seem to attract or keep money has nothing to do with your skills, your effort, or your intelligence, and everything to do with a wound you didn't even know you were carrying? Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. What if your money struggles are not fate, but a reflection of something buried deep within your shadow, waiting to be seen, heard, and healed? Because when you heal the emotional wounds behind your relationship with money, abundance stops being something you chase. It becomes something that flows. Maybe you've been here before. You open your bank account, take a deep breath, and hope the numbers will feel safe. But instead, there's that familiar wave, a mix of anxiety, guilt, and something you can't quite name. Maybe you've worked extra hours, landed that new client, or received a bonus, and for a moment, it feels like the tide is turning. But then, the unexpected expense appears. The car breaks down. The medical bill arrives. A family emergency pulls you back under . And in those moments, you tell yourself the same story you've told for years. I'm just not good with money. Maybe I'm not meant to have more than I need. It's a quiet resignation, the kind that seeps into your bones. You watch other people talk about wealth like it's a skill you can learn, a strategy you can follow, but deep down, you feel like you're playing a game with rules no one ever taught you. If you've ever felt this way, I want you to hear me. This is not because you're lazy. This is not because you're irresponsible. And it is certainly not because you are unworthy. It's because somewhere in your past, maybe in your childhood home, maybe in the whispers you overheard about money, maybe in the struggles you watched your parents face, you absorbed beliefs that didn't belong to you, beliefs about scarcity, about danger, about how money and love are tangled together in ways that don't feel safe. And those beliefs have lived in your shadow ever since, quietly shaping every decision you make, every risk you take, every dream you allow yourself to chase. Carl Jung believed that the human mind is like an iceberg. What we see and know about ourselves is just the tip. Beneath the surface lies the shadow, the hidden parts of our psyche we've pushed away, denied, or learned to hide. These are not just our bad traits. The shadow also holds our forgotten strengths, our creativity, our power, and the unhealed wounds we've carried for years. When it comes to money, the shadow is where we store the emotional truth we don't talk about. It's the part of you that flinches when someone says, money isn't everything, because you know the times when it was, when it meant safety, stability, even survival. It's the part of you that sabotages opportunities, because deep down, abundance feels unfamiliar, maybe even unsafe. It's the echo of childhood moments when you were told, directly or indirectly, we can't afford that, or people with money are selfish, or don't ask for too much. Shadow work is the process of bringing these hidden parts into the light, not to judge them, but to understand them. And here's why this matters. You can try all the financial strategies in the world. You can budget, invest, and follow every tip from the so-called experts. But if your unconscious mind still believes that having money puts you in danger, you will find ways to lose it. Not because you want to, but because a part of you believes it's safer to stay where you are. The truth, trying to change your financial life without working on your shadow is like planting seeds in poisoned soil that you might see growth for a while, but the roots can't hold. Shadow work cleans the soil. It removes the hidden toxins, the shame, the fear, the inherited scarcity, so that when you plant new beliefs, they have the space to grow strong and lasting. If you've been carrying money wounds, they usually show up in patterns, stories you live over and over without realizing it. Jung would say these patterns are not random, they are symbolic. They are the language of your unconscious, speaking through your choices, your habits, and even your bank account. Let's explore 3 of the most common shadows that shape our relationship with wealth. As you listen, notice if one or more feels like it's telling your story. 1. The scarcity shadow. This is the deep, constant fear that there will never be enough. You might save obsessively, panic over small expenses, or feel physical tension when paying bills. Even when money is in your account, you can't relax because you're waiting for the next crisis. The scarcity shadow was often born in childhood, environments where resources felt unstable or unpredictable. To the overgiver shadow here, money becomes a way to earn love, acceptance, or validation. You might spend on others before taking care of yourself, cover bills you can't afford, or constantly help out even when it drains you. Deep down, there's a fear that if you stop giving, people will stop caring. This wound often forms when love and approval were conditional, tied to what you could do or give. Point 3. The self-sabotage shadow. This pattern is tricky because it hides under moments of success. You land a great opportunity, close a big deal, or finally save a healthy amount, and then something unexpected happens. An investment goes wrong, an emergency wipes it out, or you make choices that quietly unravel your progress. This shadow is rooted in the unconscious belief that it's safer to return to the familiar, even if the familiar is struggle. None of these shadows are your fault. They are survival strategies, ways your younger self learned to cope with fear, instability, or emotional pain. But what once kept you safe is now keeping you stuck. The first step to healing is to name your shadow, because once it has a name, it can no longer control you from the dark. Every money wound has a story, and that story almost always begins long before we ever earned our first paycheck. As children, we absorb the emotional climate of our homes. We notice the tension in our parents' voices when bills arrive. We feel the heaviness in the air when an unexpected expense appears. Even if no one ever explained what was happening, we knew. And because a child's mind is wired to make sense of the world through self-reference, we made quiet, invisible conclusions. Money is dangerous. Money causes stress. Having more will make people fight. Asking for too much will make people angry. These conclusions were not logical. They were emotional. They became the unspoken rules we carried into adulthood. For some, scarcity roots itself in moments of actual lack. Not enough food, unstable housing, seeing parents working multiple jobs just to survive. For others, scarcity is born from emotional instability, where money itself wasn't the issue, but it was used as a weapon, a bargaining chip, or a measure of worth. On both cases, the nervous system learned to associate money not with safety, but with anxiety. And here's the thing, our nervous system remembers. Even decades later, when you're in a completely different reality, the body still reacts as if the old danger is present. You might feel an ache in your stomach when thinking about your finances, a rush of adrenaline when unexpected bills arrive, or a strange urge to get rid of money quickly before it disappears on its own. Jung understood that these emotional imprints live in the unconscious, guiding us quietly, powerfully, without our awareness. That's why trying to think positive about money doesn't stick. The mind may believe it, but the body and the shadow are still operating from the old script. That to change the outer reality, we must first rewrite the inner story, and that begins with bringing these roots into the light, so they no longer grow in silence. Healing your money wounds isn't about quick fixes or overnight transformations. It's about slowly, consistently, replacing fear with awareness and scarcity with a sense of grounded safety. Shadow work gives us the tools to do that, to bring the hidden beliefs into the light and rewire them from the inside out. Here are 3 steps to begin. Step 1. Recognize your triggers. Start by noticing when you feel tension, shame, or fear about money. Is it when you check your account, when you see others spending freely, when you receive money and instantly feel pressure to use it? Keep a money emotions journal for 2 weeks. Write down every moment you feel a reaction and what was happening. This isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. Step 2. Personify money. This may sound strange, but it's deeply revealing. Write about money as if it were a person in your life. How do you describe it? Is it a friend, a stranger, a threat, a lover who always leaves? Be honest. This exercise helps bring your unconscious associations into the open. Then, write a conversation between you and money. What would you say to each other if you could be completely honest? Step 3. Anchor in worthiness through experience. Affirmations are powerful, but they work best when rooted in lived truth. Instead of simply repeating, "I am worthy of abundance," look for proof in your own life. Write down moments, no matter how small, when you were valued, supported, or trusted. Let your nervous system remember what safety feels like. Over time, connect this feeling of worthiness with the idea of receiving and holding money. These steps may feel simple, but they are not surface work. They speak directly to the unconscious. Each time you name a trigger, speak to your money as a presence, or connect your worthiness to tangible memories, you are reclaiming a piece of your shadow, because abundance isn't built only by earning more, it's built by feeling safe, enough to keep it, nurture it, and let it grow. Every belief you hold about money is part of a story you didn't choose, but one you've been living in for years. And the most powerful truth about stories is this: they can be rewritten. I want you to imagine your current money story as a book in your hands. Its pages are filled with old sentences. There's never enough. Money is hard to keep. I have to struggle to survive. Some of these sentences were written by your parents, some by society, some by your own younger self trying to make sense of the world. Now, I want you to close that book. Place it gently on a shelf, not to erase it, but to honor it for the lessons it taught you. It was the story of survival. And now, you are ready for the story of abundance. Picture yourself opening a fresh journal, blank pages waiting. At the top, you write, "My new relationship with money." In this new story, money is no longer a threat or a test. It is a partner, a resource, a mirror of the value you already carry within you. In this story, money stays. It grows. It supports your dreams instead of limiting them. Feel this new narrative in your body, the way your shoulders relax, the way your breath deepens, the way possibility feels like space opening up inside you. This is not just visualization. This is neuroplasticity in action. Every time you picture this reality, you are creating new pathways in your brain, pathways where abundance feels natural, safe, and deserved. Because the truth is, money doesn't change who you are. But when you heal your relationship with it, you finally allow who you really are to come fully alive. That as you step forward on this journey of healing, remember this: your worth is not measured by your bank account, your job title, or the numbers in your savings. Your worth is inherent. It lives in your spirit, your heart, and your unique gifts, untouched by external circumstances. But here's the sacred secret: when you heal your shadow, when you bring those hidden wounds into the light with compassion and courage, your outer world begins to reflect your inner truth. Abundance flows not because you chase it desperately, but because you allow it to flow through the safe, clear channels you've created within yourself. So, if this video touched something inside you, don't let it stop here. Like this video to remind yourself that healing is possible. Comment below which money shadow pattern spoke to you the most. Sharing your truth is the first step to reclaiming your power. And subscribe to join this community, where together we rewrite our stories, one step, one shadow, one healing at a time. Your journey to abundance begins now.